Holmes! What are you doing?
Well, I hope I didn't alarm you, old chap. I'm just taking gun prints.
This is the end. This time you've gone too far, Holmes. You can't turn this place into a shooting gallery. Gun prints.
Have you ever seen a gun print?
I've never even heard of a gun print. You'll kill somebody one of these days, Holmes. Parliament ought to pass a law against people like you.
Well, of course, gun print's just the name I've given it. Actually, it's the marks on the bullet left by the rifling in the gun barrel.
Ah!
Yeah, would you like to look at these two bullets under the magnifying glass? You'll observe that they have different markings because they were fired by different guns.
I'm not interested, not in the least interested. The police will be here in a minute.
But you should be interested, Watson. You're interested in saving lives, aren't you?
Of course, but...
Well, look, this very little experiment may very well save a life someday.
How can firing bullets
now,
from here into...
Wait a minute. Take the case of a man who is accused of murder.
I'd rather not.
The prosecution claimed that the bullets were fired from his gun.
They probably were. The man was guilty. I can see it all.
Yes, but if it can be proved that it was impossible by the markings, then an innocent man's life could be saved.
That's all very well and good, Holmes, but this flat is not the place to conduct these sort of experiments. How would you like it if I started to practice my surgery in the bathtub or on the kitchen table?
Could you manage it in the bathtub, do you think?
No, I give up. And now, if you're not keeping this appalling smell for experimental purposes, I will, with your permission, open the door. Holmes, I told you. I knew you'd gone too far. Now you have shot somebody.
Well, if I have, I shall have to certainly correct those guns for drift. Oh, that's fantastic. He seems to have some breath in him still.
No fault of yours that he has. Now, help me with him before somebody sees him. Really, firing off revolvers, brewing poison, frightening people. It's more than a man can stand, Holmes. Really, more than a man can stand.
Am I wounded badly, please? I'm a poor man. I can't afford a hospital.
No. You'll be all right in a minute. You've just fainted from something.
Something, you say? Didn't you hear what happened? I was outside, about to knock at your door, when suddenly I was attacked. Someone turned a revolver loose on me, bullets flying everywhere. I tried to fight back bravely, but there were too many of them, 6 or 7 at least, all firing guns.
I'll get you a glass of brandy.
Oh, thank you. You'd better call the police. They may try it again, whoever they are. Maniacs and foreigners, I'll be bound.
No. You're quite safe now. Those shots came from my revolver and were fired into that wadding over there.
You mean you were the one who...
Yes, I was just carrying out a little experiment. I must apologize for any shock I may have given you.
And no one is after me?
And not to my knowledge, Mr. Wilson. Here, will you drink this, huh?
Oh, thank you. You called me Mr. Wilson just now. How did you know that was my name?
Well, it's on your collar.
Very shrewd indeed, your noticing my name like that. In fact, you've got exactly the kind of mind that could help me to unravel my mystery. That is, if you're willing to lend a poor man a hand.
Oh, yes, I owe you at least that. What is the mystery?
But perhaps you'll get a better idea of what it is if you read this first. Yeah, it's in the wanted column. Read it for yourself.
Ah, to the Red-Headed League. On account of the bequest of the late Ezekiah Hopkins of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, USA, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in... Apply in person on Monday at 11 o'clock to Duncan Ross at the offices of the League, 7 Pope's Court, Fleet Street. Apply in person on Monday at 11 o'clock to Duncan Ross at the offices of the League, 7 Pope's Court, Fleet Street.
But what on earth does it mean, the Red-Headed League?
It is a little off the beaten track, isn't it?
I assure you, I felt the same way as you when I read it. A vacancy? For what, I asked. I'm a dealer in second-hand merchandise, and I believe in giving value for value received. And it certainly struck me as odd that somebody was prepared to give £4 a week for nothing. But young Spaulding took a different view of it.
Oh? Who is young Spaulding?
Vincent Spaulding. He's my assistant, and I couldn't wish for a nicer young man.
I see. Now, suppose you tell me the story as it happened, right from the beginning.
From the beginning? Yes, of course. Well, it all started 2 months ago when that paper came out. I was in the shop at the time. I'm there practically the whole of my time. I'm a widower and I've got little else to do. When young Spaulding came back from lunch.
Mr. Wilson, if you only knew how I wish that I had red hair like you.
Huh?
Don't believe it or not. Here is another vacancy for the League of Red-Headed Men.
A league of what?
Red-Headed Men. Surely you've heard of them, haven't you?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't get about as much as some of you young people do.
Well, I should have thought everyone would have heard of the League of Red-Headed Men. Well, at least everyone who was eligible. Now, a man like you, if he were accepted, could make himself a nice little nest egg without hardly lifting a hand.
Vincent, I've told you before, there's one thing you've got to learn in life. Nobody ever gets anything except by the sweat of his brow. Value receives value. What is this Red-Headed League?
Take a look at this paper yourself. How I wish my hair would change color, really I do. What a nice little nest egg I'd make for myself.
Well, this doesn't make sense to me.
No? Will you see the name? Hezekiah Hopkins?
Yes.
Oh, he was an American millionaire. Very peculiar in his ways. He was red-headed himself and had great sympathy for all red-headed men. So, when he died, he left an enormous fortune in the hands of trustees to make life easier for all red-headed men.
Oh, really? Yeah, red-headed men.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I couldn't apply even if I wanted to. I've got the shop here to look after.
Well, that's the whole point. The work don't amount to anything. Absolutely nothing at all. It need not interfere with a man's other occupation.
Well, even so, probably millions of men would apply for it.
No, this is limited to Londoners and to grown men. You see, this American started off from London and I suppose wanted to do the old town a good turn. And then again, I hear it's no use applying unless your hair is a real fiery red.
Huh. Do you think my hair is red enough?
Oh, I've never seen any redder.
I could use the money. There's all sorts of repairs I could do, and... Vincent, I'm going to investigate this league. Lock up the shop. You're coming with me.
Yes, sir.
You're right. It is fiery red, isn't it?
Let me handle everything. All right. Stand back, everybody. This is Mr. Hopkins' son. Go on, step back, or he'll see that you don't get interviewed at all. Mr. Hopkins, this way.
Thank you for applying, Mr. Everson. Your name will be kept on file, and in the event you are chosen to fill the vacancy, I'll get in touch with you immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. I do hope I win. My family and me could do with the money.
We shall see what we shall see, Mr. Everson.
Thank you so much.
Are you the next applicant?
Yes, this is Mr. J.B.S. Wilson. Your search is over. He's willing to fill the vacancy.
Will you sit down, Mr. Wilson? I've never seen anything like it.
I told you, Mr. Wilson.
It's extraordinary, beyond belief. Congratulations. It would be an injustice to hesitate.
I've got the position.
You have. You will, however, excuse me for taking an obvious precaution. There are tears in your eyes. I perceive all is as it should be, but we have to be careful, for twice now we have been deceived by wigs, and once by paint. I'm sorry the vacancy has been filled, but thank you one and all for coming. My name is Duncan Ross. I'm one of the trustees in charge of the fund left by your noble benefactor. When shall you be able to embark upon your new duties?
Oh, well, almost any time, I suppose. Though I should mention that I have another business which will require some of my time.
Oh, so long as you're free to be here between the hours of 10 to 2, there'll be no objections.
Easy enough, Mr. Wilson. There's very little business during those hours, and what there is, I could take care of.
Oh, thank you, Vincent. I appreciate that. And what is the work?
Copying the encyclopedia.
Oh,
The Encyclopedia Britannica. You will provide your own pen, ink, and blotting paper, and copy it down word for word. Is that agreeable?
well, yes.
Our only demand is that you remain in the office, or at least in building, during working hours. If you leave, you forfeit your position forever. The will is very clear on that point.
Well, it's only 4 hours a day. I shouldn't think of leaving.
No excuse will avail, neither sickness, nor business, or anything else. Here you must stay or lose your billet.
I quite understand.
Then, goodbye, Mr. Wilson. And again, let me congratulate you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. The Encyclopedia Britannica.
You'll do a wonderful job of it, Mr. Wilson. I'm sure you will.